All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who are willing to teach well, who taught us his truth. And what we just saw was a video of the new enemy. See, this is what we mean by the white man being the devil that the Bible speaks about. Now, everybody is beginning to see who this man is. Knowledge shall be increased. Let's get that. This is Daniel 12, verse 4. It says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." And we are, in fact, those end times. Well, we know that the last days started when Yahushua came on the scene, right? But even more so, we are now in the last days. How are we in the last days? Because the Spirit has been breathed back unto us. That's Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, Malachi 1, verse 4. Right, the children have been turned back unto their fathers. That's Jeremiah 50, I believe that's 5. Matter of fact, let's get that also. Jeremiah 50 and 5, around there. Let me see here. Yeah, 50 and 5. Well, 50 and 4. It says, "In those days and in that time, said Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the children of Israel," that's the northern kingdom, "shall come, they and the children of Judah," that's the southern kingdom. And, we are in those last days because we know who the southern kingdom is. We know who the northern kingdom is as well. These small hats, they can't tell you who the northern kingdom is, okay? But right here we see both. We see all the tribes of Israel coming together doing what? They and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, and they shall go and seek Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, their God, because it's always been our God, all right? This has never been an inclusivity thing, okay? Only the so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics have been chastised by their father, which is Yahweh, and the name Bahashem Yahushai. Okay, it says they shall go and seek the Lord, Yahweh Shai, their God. They shall ask the way of Zion with their faces thitherward, saying, "Come and let us join ourselves to Yahweh Shai in a perpetual covenant that shall not be forgotten." That's what we're doing. But we are in those last days, man. And in those last days, the scriptures talk about what would happen in those last days. As I started off with Daniel, about knowledge being increased, everyone knows that this man is nothing but a demon. I'm talking about you self-proclaimed whites. And this itself was all prophecy. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day," what day? It's talking about the day that Yahushua comes back. "That day shall not come, except there come a falling away first." Now, Christians would have you to believe, let me say it this way, the same group of people that we just saw here, this same group of people that is telling you who the next boogeyman is, all right, is telling you that the falling away happened when, or is going to happen when America stops being a Christian nation. Well, hold on a minute. America was never a Christian nation, okay? Because a Christian nation wouldn't, genocide the so-called natives and Hispanics, man, okay? A Christian nation wouldn't be going around the globe manufacturing crises and, dropping bombs on 150 school children in Iran, all right? A Christian nation wouldn't, be having this guy Fauci, being exposed as a liar, all right? And it's not just Fauci, but by the way, all right? Because Fauci didn't seat himself in that position, all right? He was put there by your government, by the whites, all right? The same white man that is now trying to point the finger at this other white man, being Fauci, that same white man gave Fauci the keys, man. Okay, but why? Because these people are not. This is not a Christian nation, man. All right. So the falling away being spoken about here is you so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics forgetting who you were, but then as we read in Jeremiah 50, coming back to the understanding of who you are. All right. Baruch 2:30 through the 33rd chapter goes into that. We are remembering ourselves, right? And that falling away came because we refused to adhere by the law, okay? That same law that, Christians today will tell you that you don't have to follow. But yet, that same law is what helps you to, attain salvation according to them. What do I mean by that? Because they tell you in one breath that the law is done away with, but then they tell you for you to get to heaven, you can't murder, kill. But, the law is still in effect. But the point is that the falling away was us forgetting who we were. Continuing on, and this is a point that I want to get in this precept. It says, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And this man is being revealed. Why? Because this man is consistently at war. The man of sin, the man of perdition. And by the way, that word perdition goes into destruction, because that's all that this man is good for. Let's go ahead and get that. I believe that's Proverbs 16. Yeah, 16 and 4. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Esau, Edom, was only set on this world to be the chastisement, first and foremost, to you so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics, but really he's been a chastisement unto the world, okay? He is that red horse, Revelation 6 and 4, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. And that's exactly what this man has done. He has taken peace from the earth, and he's done nothing but slaughtered people. Let's get that in Revelation 17 and 1. And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. And this, in fact, is America. Verse 15, and he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, in verse 1, where the whore sits, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. America is all over the entire globe, okay? And now that they've, knocked out Venezuela, now that they have an embargo on Cuba, now that they're, actively supplying weapons, to the Ukrainians against the Russians. Now, while they're in the middle of another war against Iran, now they're setting their fucking sights on the country of Mexico. And I'm very specific on how I said that, the country of Mexico. Why? Because he's been at war with with you so-called Hispanics, since this man got into office. Here it is, this man got into office again the second time, while the cost of living was high. Food and everything is unaffordable. Jobs are down. What's the very first thing he does? Let's lock up the brown people. That that alone should show you so-called Hispanics, man, that there is no hope in this white man system. Okay, this is the devil that is going to continue to be the devil. All right, and that's exactly what this is. I literally just came across this video. All right. And that's exactly what this is. This man is pointing to you at, this is who you're supposed to hate next. I'm going to play it again, but the sound's going to be minor. Matter of fact, let me see if I could do the captions. And the reason is because, I turned my mic on. There's a new public enemy, okay? And there's always been one. That's why he even has to phrase it that way. There's a new one. Why? Because what was the old one, man? It's always been something. And that's how we know that America is in the scriptures. America's not in the scriptures. Yes, it is, you dummy. You think that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to create all of creation. He's going to tell you about the different captivities. He's going to tell you about, we're going to get the book of Revelations, but he's going to forget America. Of course he is, man. But that's why, these scriptures are not just for anybody else, man, because they're filled with dark sayings. America is in the scriptures, and here's a perfect example of what we just saw. Nahum 3 and 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is full of lies and robbery. And that's exactly what America is, man. See, before, everybody was under the spell that this place was great, man. Everybody was of the idea that America was the good guy. We got to go and, we had to go to war for, against Afghanistan, against Iraq, against Saudi Arabia, against Libya, against Vietnam, against South Korea, right? And now they're setting their sights on the country of Mexico, man. All right, but people aren't believing this man anymore, man. That's Isaiah the 47th chapter. Stand down with thine enchantments, man, because these enchantments right here, this is an enchantment, man. They're telling you, they are programming your mind to tell you what to think, man. Matter of fact, let's get that word program in the etymology. Let's get that word program. Program. Let's see. Public notice, a proclamation, or an edict. That's exactly what it is. We interrupt tonight's programming. All right, the public notice. All right, this is exactly what it's been. It's been an enchantment, man. And how, why do we say enchantments? Because when people think about enchantments, they think about a Walt Disney movie. That the Walt Disney movie is a very exaggerated to make you seem crazy when you say these things. But that is an enchantment. It's been a spell. All right. We had been hypnotized by just watching the so-called white man left to right, like a hypnotician does, with this little clock, left and right, watching left and right, seeing everything, just reacting to Esau's movement, left, right. We're going here, Iran, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Libya. That's all we've been doing. We just been watching where he's going, but we haven't been asking why. But now we are in the knowledge of information, man. And that's why we started off with that Daniel 9. Knowledge shall be increased, man. And that knowledge has been increased, all right? That knowledge is being pushed forth, starting with the elders and the apostles on down, about who Esau Edom is, where America is in the scriptures, and who you so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics really are. But this program right here, this is a spell, all right? Because now people go through this, and they go throughout their day, and this is in the back of their head. And then they go on social media, and the same people that aired this, news report, now they own, TikTok. They own all of YouTube. So now when you're going through your shorts, you'll be, they're going to put it in your algorithm about a beheading or about people being killed in Mexico. It's always an excuse as to why they have to go to war. All right, going back to Nahum 3. The prey departeth not, man. And that's exactly what America is. There's always a boogeyman. And right now is a perfect example of, okay, now this is the new public enemy number one. All right, but yet, I find it funny, man. I find it funny. And like I said, I just came across this video, but I find it funny that, because I was thinking about John Gotti, all right, and they said the original public enemy number one was a fucking Edomite, man, and that's still to this day. That is still to this day. This man, Edom, is still public enemy number one. All that he's done is accuse the brethren. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get that. The accuser of the brethren. I know it's accuser of the brethren. I don't know why. I'm extremely tired today, man. Revelation 12 and 10. I don't know why. Anyways, it says, and I heard a loud voice saying, now it's saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of Hamashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And that's exactly what this man is. All this was an accusation. They're a public enemy number one. It was all, now it's always a brown man, a so-called black man. But in reality, it's been him. He's been the one. Ever since these Edomites came into position of power, they've always just brought nothing but death, man. And that's how we know. Matter of fact, let's get that John 10. I'm just extremely tired. John 10 and 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal and kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. This is the thief, man. We already got that in Revelation 6 and 4. We already showed you in Nahum, the 3rd chapter, the prey departeth not. Ever since this man stepped on the scene, wickedness increased according to 1st Maccabees, man. All right. This has been, that golden cup that all the nations drank from, including ourselves, man. Bro.